Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bald Explorer Live on the 24th of March 2018. I'm Richard Vobes, the man who goes around looking at the countryside, the history and lovely bits of nature, particularly here in the spring, as we are now in the spring. And by the way, don't forget, the clocks in the UK go... what do? They go forward an hour. Spring forward, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to put your clocks forward and have an extra... do you get an extra hour? No, you get an hour taken away. Never mind, it's Sunday, so you can have a lie-in anyway. You're going to have a lie-in, I'm sure you were. But anyway, there we are. It's the 24th of March 2018. I'm Richard Vobes. Welcome to the Bald Explorer Live. Now, there's a little bit of confusion. You know, A, it's a Saturday, and I don't normally do a show on a Saturday. Although sometimes I do these little extra specials. But there was a bit of confusion because I kind of made my little announcement that I was doing a show a bit not very clear. It may have sounded as if I was going to be live from Coombes Farm, from the farm as the lambing was actually taking place. And that's not quite what is happening. I'm going to be talking about the lambing that the lovely Julia and myself and my wonderful daughter Georgie went along and had a look at and watched some lambs. Well, we didn't actually watch them being born. We just arrived when some had just been born. But we didn't manage to actually capture any actually popping out of the bag, so to speak, the boil in the bag business. But we did go and see it, so we'll have a little chat about that. Got some video to play in, hopefully. I have put some video up in the group. And of course on Monday you'll get the proper video, which will be rather jolly. So there we go. Let's have a look and see if anybody's actually joining us here on the Saturday today. That would be good. John Berger's arrived. Sarah Horn. Yes, clocks tonight, she says. Kevin Hall says good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, everyone. Tell me, John Berger, in the USA, are you putting your clocks... you don't do British summertime, do you? I don't suppose they do any of that nonsense. John Mayers says, bonjour. Bonjour, monsieur. Comment ça va? Eh, très bien. Merci beaucoup. That's about the maximumness of my French. Paul Hind has joined. Hello, Paul. Ed Ovett. Hello, Ed. How are you? Lovely to see you. Cynthia Walder is lovely. All the emojis are going north now. They're floating upwards. I've never seen that before. Normally they go across the screen, but today they're going upwards. Gary Baines has arrived, which is lovely. And we have Chris... no, we don't have Chris. We have Steve Pilford, Cynthia Julian, John Berger and Timothy Wareham, which is all fantastic. And I dare say a few other extras as well. Now, it's welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know what has just been going on behind the scenes. And if anything goes wrong with the show, I seem to have a very dodgy connection. So I'm just being very careful not to put my hands down. You see, doing these live shows, sometimes you get a little bit blasé and you look at the clock and you go, no, it's only 10 minutes, only 10 minutes, plenty of time, turn everything on, make sure that, you know, the lights are working, the camera is going. I prepared everything and got all my notes. Well, my notes are half complete because at about sort of 1:45, I thought, well, I better turn it all on, make sure it's all working. Turned on everything, it's all fine. No picture. Camera wasn't working. What's going on? That's very strange. Fiddle and fart, fiddle and fart. Put a peg on one's nose because you don't need to smell your own business. And I couldn't get the camera going. And about a minute too, I unplugged, restarted, replugged, doing all this. Sweat pouring off the old stream. People will be turning up. I've said I'm doing a show. Then suddenly I'm not going to be there. And within seconds, it was really like one of those sort of things you see with James Bond, 007, just trying to defuse the bomb. And the countdown is ticking down. And the man is there sitting with the microphone going, 5 seconds and counting. And everything's blowing up around him. And it was literally like that, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, never mind. Timothy Wareham says, we call it daylight savings time. Who calls it that? You? I call it British summertime. Daylight savings time. Is that the official name? Simon Brown has joined, which is lovely to see. Thank you very much. And Jane Ainsley, of course. Martin Snow. Where is Martin Snow? Oh, yes, of course, Martin Snow's out there, which is lovely to see. Anne Osborne and Russell MacDonald Bell. Everybody clearly not going out on a Saturday night. And why would you when the Vobes is on... is on the computer, the tablet, the telephone, the whatever it is, the crystal set, whatever mechanism that you use to watch the internet through the ether, perhaps. So there we are. Jurgen has arrived, which is lovely. And Mick Baines, hello Mickey Baines, which is great. Mark Selwood, and Elizabeth Brazier. I'm going to miss people out, and I do apologise if you've arrived and I haven't got you, but there we are. I'm a dual citizen living in Minnesota, says Timothy Wareham. Of course you are. Of course you are. Of course. So do you move your clocks around? You have daylight savings hours or whatever it was. Oh, that's interesting, you see, because we call it British summertime. So, of course, I thought, well, the Americans wouldn't call it British summertime because you're not in Britain. So that all makes perfect sense. You see, sometimes you confuse me. Andy Ashley says, it's better than watching The Voice, Rich. I nearly misread that to say it's better than watching The Rich Voice. And I thought, oh, I wonder what that is. That sounds like an interesting television programme, The Rich Voice. Woohoo! Anyway, here we are. We've managed to wind up the elastic bands, get the clockwork mechanism, and we are live to you wherever you happen to be in any part of the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologise. I wasn't here yesterday. Now, I hope you all knew that I wasn't going to be here yesterday and that you didn't actually all turn up en masse going, bloody internet, what's the matter with it? I've refreshed the page, it doesn't come up. Where's that bald bloke with the glasses? He's here to, he's supposed to be entertaining us. That's his remit. He's not allowed time off, go gallivanting about to some Sussex Windmills Group, giving them a good old chinwag about how he makes his heritage videos. He can't do that. He's supposed to be entertaining us. We pay him. We've paid our patronage. We give him some subs. We look after him. We've bought him cakes. We've gone round there and massaged him of an evening. We've sent the dancing girls in their frilly skirts. Actually, you haven't done all of those things. The requests that I've put out, I've noticed that not all of those requests have actually been met, which is, very disappointing for me, but never mind. Here we go. So anyway, apologies for not being there yesterday, but I am here with this extra show tonight. But I do have some bad news. I won't be around Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. That might be good news from where you are. You may be actually going, oh, finally, get the calendar out, love. We can book some nights out. We can actually go to the cinema. We can go to the theatre. We can go to the bingo. We're not committed to sit here like paid fans to sort of be there and make sure he does his work. So that will be good. Oh, Claire Leach has arrived, just to let everybody know. Be nice to her. Hello, Claire. Lovely to see you. Thanks for coming in. Eric is with Martin Snow. Yes, I think Eric is with Martin Snow. I haven't seen Eric either for a long time, which is a shame. Is that a coach driver's jacket you're wearing? No, of course. This isn't a coach driver. This is Butlins. I'm a red coat. I'm actually, Andy, I'm wearing a degrees of pink. I've got a pink shirt on. I have to, oh no, don't. Stop messing about. I've got a pink shirt on. I've got a pink jumper on, and then I've got a red. So I've sort of, from light pink onwards. And underneath all of this, I've probably got a very sort of badly dyed T-shirt, I dare say, or vest, as string vest. Who wears a string vest? People wear string vests these days? And did they get cold? Or did that somehow trap the heat in? I don't know. Maybe you know. Steve Pitford says, boring fact, back in the 80s and 90s, we changed the clock about 2 weeks different to France. This meant that when the French brought the New Haven ferry, they had a different timetable for a fortnight. There you are. You said it. Boring fact. I mean, no, fascinating. Fascinating fact. And do you know, at the same time as they brought that ferry over, there were 3 men in a small rowing boat rowing out on that very night, doing a little bit of illicit smuggling. Yeah. Actually, I may have made that up, but anyway. Kevin Hall says, where are you going in Nottingham? Well, that is a good question. I'm waiting for my client. My client, very nice people, by the way. I have to say that because they're paying me, and I can say what I like after I've got after I've got the cheque, of course. But very nice people, my client at the moment. They're a little bit sort of slow at actually telling me what I'm doing. Generally, I find out about the day of, or even the day after, what it was I was supposed to be doing. So a lot of it is a bit of mind power. I have to use the old brain cells to work out what it is they actually wanted me to do, and then be one step ahead. Because, well, you know what corporate people are like. They never quite are all together. Everything is all chaos. So I'm not quite sure. All I can tell you is I'm filming in the East Midlands. Now, they have a base in Nottingham, but that doesn't mean to say I'm filming in Nottingham. I just know I've got to be there at 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday morning. So now I've got the slight complication here, you see, because Harriet is flying back from her lovely place in Marybelle, France, up there in the Alps. I was talking to her earlier today, and she's having a lovely time. Oh she's having a great time there with all the lovely chalet and the après ski and going down the mountain. She's having a lovely time. Lucky her. Anyway, so the rest of us are stuck here slaving away doing what we do, making sure that the show stays afloat, But she's flying back into Birmingham, and she said to me, oh, well, if you're going up north, if you're coming up to the Midlands, you could pick me up, couldn't you? I said, well, I'm actually going over to Nottingham. Oh, well, you could do a detour. You could pick me up from Birmingham International Airport and then drive me back to Shrewsbury, couldn't you? And I said, oh, could I? That's nice. Thank you. So it looks like that I may well be doing that. So on Tuesday, I will have this complicated thing that I'm going up there to pick her up en route, take her to Shrewsbury, stay the night there, get up really early, drive across the Midlands to the East Midlands to Nottingham, get there by 8:30, through the rush hour, cross all the hills and dales and things, and then do whatever filming I've got. Then I've got to work out where I'm staying, find a hotel or a B&B or an Airbnb or a bus shelter or a seaside. Oh, there's no seaside piers over there, is there? Maybe Wigan. Oh, no, that's the wrong direction. Anyway, find somewhere, perhaps underneath the castle. Nottingham. Perhaps the Nottingham sheriff will let me in and let me do a bit of couch surfing or something. Anyway, the point is, I will have to find somewhere to sleep, and then have another day's filming, and then hot-foot it back south from Nottingham, which is about 3.5 to 4 hours, depending on the traffic. Going down the M1, it's more like 5 hours, so it's a bit of a shame. But anyway, so that's the thing. So no show Thursday night, but Friday, I'll be mopping the sweat off me like this, and I'm ready to do a show. So there we go. So that's the lineup. Hitch. Yeah, thanks. I did used to hitch, ladies and gentlemen. Did you ever hitch? Have you ever hitchhiked? Hitchhiked with the old golden thumb out, going, hello, all right, sailor, coming my way, are you? Going out, did roll up the old leg so that people would see the leg. Did you ever do that? I used to, as a teenager. I wouldn't do it now, not so much. I mean, I would in an emergency, but I would be a bit careful, because you never quite know these days. Mark Selwood says, hi, Nikki, how are you feeling? Oh, yes, because Nikki wasn't very well. She went to work and was sent home. That's a shame. Stuart Davis says, hello, Richard. Hello, Stuart Davis. We had a lovely conversation on the phone only the other day, and I still haven't looked at those links. I've been rushed off my feet, but I will get to them. I promise. I'll get. Tomorrow is a less busier day. I am out in the morning doing a little bit of filming, but I will be back. I've got to go and see Gary Baines, of course. We're having the Fort Report tomorrow. When I say Fort, I don't mean brain thinking, although we will be doing some brain thinking. I'm actually saying that we will be doing about the Shoreham Fort Report. I thought it was quite funny because, it's a fort has loud bangs, doesn't it? Cannons going off, and a report is also the description of a loud bang. So the Fort Report, we could have a... Yeah, well, you have to be a bit clever to get these jokes, obviously. And I don't write them. I don't write these jokes. They come in. Some of the lesser-known viewers, well, monkeys, actually. I've got a room for typewriters, and I'm just waiting for some monkeys to use them. But they're all like vintage typewriters, so that's why the jokes are so old. Tish, hey. James Tomlinson has joined. Hello, James. Do pull up a pew. Sorry, there's not a lot of room. There's a couple of wooden rickety chairs at the back there. They're all right. They're quite sound. Bit of woodworm you might get crawling up the old bottom, but don't let it worry you. But lovely to see you. Thanks for coming. Kevin Hall says Hucknall Premier Inn is usually a good stay. Well, that's very nice. Premier Inn can be a bit pricey. Used to be good value, didn't it? Premier Inns, like the travel lodges. Travel lodges, always a bit dodgy. The last travel lodge I stayed in, mattress did that. That's what it did. and you know, in the morning you're desperately trying to climb out. Let me out! Let me out! Let me out! I've got to get to work, for goodness sake! I'm sure there was some sort of bed monster pulling you down, ready to go, yawning cavern, ready to swallow you up. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, so that's James Tomlinson has arrived, which is good. Hello to you. And Mark Selwood says, hi, I've hitched when I was 20, and this guy hit on me. Ah, yeah, well, that's always a bit dodgy, isn't it? Oh, the doors have got locked, and the man with the wheel has got a spare roving hand. Hello there, how are you, dear boy? Come over to my side. Let's see if we can find a little lay-by, when we'll put the little blinds down and the lovely little bit of music that we have just to keep you happy. Yeah, maybe we'll keep that story for a bit later at night when the ladies have retired. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with the show. Very nice to see you all there. Where's Eric? Says he's not here. I don't know. He's taken the night off with Martin Snow. I think Eric and Martin have got a bit of a thing going. They're probably looking at 360 devices to get these special videos that Martin Snow is now doing. Check out his website or his Facebook page. I forget where you put them, Martin. Just type in Orange and you'll find him. That's all you need to do these days to find Martin. Just type in Orange, and because that's why the telephone company is no longer running. Did you know that? That's why you used to have that mobile phone service, Orange. They've gone. Martin, in his great wisdom, in his massive wisdom, because he's got a big brain, you know, inside that funny little head, he's got a big brain. He waters it every day, and new brain cells are growing, apparently. Anyway, so, yeah, that's he's bought up Orange now, so you just type in Orange and you'll find him. Warning, only the gullible will actually follow that through. So, ladies and gentlemen, Neil Gardner, he says, I'm sorry I'm late. Oh, that's all right, Neil. I expect you've been out there with the trowel, have you? Been making sure the weeds are all looking nice and serene. So that's okay. Take your rubber gloves off and have a... Well, you might have to sit on somebody's lap now because all the chairs are going. Anyway, it's nice of you to arrive. I haven't seen the lovely Julia yet. So is she out there? Probably tucking up little Elijah to bed. Jane Ainsley's there, which is good. Terry Wood, good evening all. Little late, he's late tonight. Well, he is down there right down there in South Devon, aren't you there? See, there's a lot of things to do down there in South Devon, you know. There's a lot of cheese making to do there, and a bit of apple scrump. Oh no, the apple goes up in wherever it is, Somerset. Somerset. Anyway, enough of this. Enough of this me taking the mickey. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, a number of things. First of all, I was going to talk about lambs. Oh, get the mint sauce out. Get the mint sauce out. Come on, hurry up. We've got the recipe, have we? Just one moment, please. Is it done? Have you taken it out of the oven? I can't smell it. What do you mean it's not in the oven? No, you haven't rung it. Oh, they're not old enough. Well, how old do they have to... Oh, I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. I thought we were going to bring to you a wonderful lamb recipe with chops and some of that mint sauce and some of that lovely green sprinkly stuff you put on and little cutlets. But apparently they're only just being born, ladies and gentlemen. The lambs are only just being born. So put your dinner plates down, the knives and forks and all the other little accoutrements. Accoutrement, that's a word, isn't it? Accoutrement. That's French. Somebody's over in France, aren't they? That's French. Bit of French for you. Accoutrement, eh? You see? Accoutrement from France. We had bonjour earlier. Now we're having a rendezvous. Rendezvous. That's like Robin Day who? Yeah, anyway, let's get on with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very tentative about touching the gizmos because I had this awful problem at the beginning when the show didn't work. But we've got lots to get through, so let's get through it, shall we? Which would be lovely. So, lambs. I've got some video. Now, I did put this video up into the group, so you may have seen it. But anyway, I just wanted to show you some of these lovely little lambs where we went out on yesterday. It was Saturday morning at Coombes Farm. Lovely farm. Jenny Passmore, who's the current owner, 5 generations of them this family have been The farm was mentioned in the Doomsday Book, and they've been there since 1901. That's why they're all looking a bit haggard, and they've got very long beards, and they just look like they're incredibly tired. But, you know, be fair to them, they have been there a long, long time. So let's have a look at some of the little lambs and the ewes. There's about 800 ewes ready to give birth, ready to go like that. So let's have a look and just get the R factor out of the way. So, here we go, some lovely lambs. I'll just talk over a little bit of this, if that's okay. These were very, very inquisitive. You can see how inquisitive they are, and not at all scared of human contact. And in fact, at Coombes, they encourage the humans to get closer to the animals, particularly the children, because people have forgotten, haven't they? They've forgotten where our food comes from. And they just think of these little creatures as, you know, little cuddly things that you have made out of cotton wool or something. Oh, there's Julia having her ear sucked off. Not quite sure what that was all about. I think she was just having a moment there. And that little chappie is having a bit of a snooze. So there we go. Just a little teaser, ladies and gentlemen. A little teaser, because on Monday you'll get the full video. Of course, if you are a patron of Vobes, if you are one of those that supports the Bald Explorer, ladies and gentlemen, and you just make a little donation to the cause to help all the comrades make... sorry, I nearly gave the game away then. If you are one of those that just help that, you know, the team put petrol in the car and go out to these different places and bring you all this lovely stuff. If you're one of those lucky people, you get a special digest. You get The Naked Englishman, which is an audio diary of my life, behind the scenes of what goes on here in the studio, and also you get the videos in advance. So you would have already seen the pucker proper edited fully fledged version of the Coombes Farm report with the lovely Julia and the balding Richard. So that was it. But also you'll get to hear a bit more information from Jenny the farmer herself, which is really cool. So that was very nice. Stuart Davis says, "Oui, je suis français. Ah, mais oui. Ah, hi, ha, hi, ha. Where is your onion rings? Have you got a chin?" Yes, of course I've got a chin. What are you talking about, silly man? Yeah, tasty, gorgeous. Yes, thanks for that. Lovely. So that's all going on. So I had a lovely time there. It was very great. And of course, the lovely Julia was in her element. Now, I did speak to Jenny, the farmer lady, the owner, and I said, look, it would be great. It's so nice in your farm, and it's great because she has cows and various other things. And just up the road, I don't think they're hers, but where I went some time ago, last year, when I did the pigs in the mist. I don't know if any of you have seen that video of mine, the pigs in the mist, where I stumbled across these little snorting pink things as I was trying to get through the South Downs. Well, it's only up the road from Coombes. Coombes. It's up the Coombe, and on the top, they're all these pigs. So she probably knows them. They probably lease the land, I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't be surprised. So what I'm leading up to say, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to spit it out, Vobes. Yeah, I'm doing my best. Is that I want to keep going back throughout the year and do reports about the farm and what it's like to run a farm these days, because none of us really know, do we? Because the world of farms, all it does now is come to us on a polystyrene tray with a bit of cling film on the top, and that's the nearest we get to farms. And even those aren't real farms, you know, all these so-called farms that certain supermarkets have brand names of their product. The factory has this such and such, you know, Gold Acre Farm or whatever it's called, or 10 Lush Field Farm, whatever it might be. So, you know, we never really get close. So I want to actually see and learn more about the farms and the nature side of things, which, of course, hopefully will attract more viewers and more listeners and all of that. So that's what we're looking forward to. So I hope you enjoy that, which is great. And but we'll have more of that kind of nonsense coming on. Let's see. Mark Selwood is just letting us know that he is a patron. Nikki Jess is saying, hi, Richard. Hello, Nikki. Elizabeth Brazier is saying that she is also a patron, which is very nice. I seem to be missing my advanced videos or blog, says Paul Hine. Well, that's very interesting. Sometimes I've had this weird thing. I have an email list, and every now and again somebody will say, "Here, I'm paying my money. I'm not getting the stuff." And of course, unless somebody tells me, I don't know. And somehow, and I don't know why it is, every now and again somebody's name drops off. I'm trying to find a better system to make sure this doesn't happen. So, Paul, I'm going to write that down, and I shall go and check. The minute the show is finished, the very second, my friend, that the show has finished, the absolute moment that the show has finished, and I've run up the stairs and I've had a little tinkle and I've uploaded the show onto YouTube, and I've put the hot water bottle in my bed, and I've made my hot cocoa, and I've changed into my night clothes, and I've snuggled up and had 12 hours kip and got out and done some filming, and then come back and had breakfast, and then had a chat with the neighbour across the garden fence, and walked the dog and brushed the cat down, changed the guinea pig for a rabbit. As soon as I've done that, obviously I will go and get some lunch, some cheese on toast, and go to Morrison's and buy some more food, and just get on with general life, and have 4 hours kip and get ready for my thing in Birmingham, Nottingham, wherever it is. And then I will make sure it's a priority, Paul. I would hate to miss you out. I would hate to not sort that. No, I'll do it as soon as the show's finished. I will look into that, because you should be getting it. It's very annoying, and so sorry about that. Ed Ovett says, I used to live on a 40-acre farm with 40 head of cattle in my first marriage in Missouri. Well, that's what happens if you marry a cow. I have to say, first marriage, obviously, you've turned the other cheek, and you've found a woman which hopefully doesn't have quite so many moves to go through. So I guess that's the case. Evening, says Mark Taylor. Hello, Mark Taylor. How are you? Straight back, no doubt, from some, I don't know, sci-fi convention, or from the alarm going off repeatedly in your flat, which of course is always... Are you still in the same flat? Does the alarm still go off, Mark? It's so distressful. We keep used to seeing these... it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's the 5th time the sodding alarm has gone off. Poor old, because he lives, well, I don't know if you're still living there with your dearly lovely wife, and the alarm, somebody in another flat, and everybody's got to get up, and you go out and you stand on the roof in your little skimpy thongs and shivering there as the snow's coming. I mean, it must be a nightmare for you. Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway, so that's that. Quite a change from Brooklyn. He's a Brooklyn-born lad. That's very nice. Right, now, I went out yesterday. The reason I didn't do a show yesterday is because, ladies and gentlemen, because I was asked by the Sussex Windmills Group, very wise people. They asked me to go and do a bit of a chinwag, to give a little talk. And of course, I spent a long time, as you know, I spent a very a considered amount of seconds working out what it was I was actually going to gabble on about. And in between everything else I was doing, I managed to scrawl some notes just as I walked through the door. And then they had their AGM, which is what they were doing, at the West Blatchington Windmill, which is a delightful windmill, I have to say. I mean, if you've never been, you really should go. And I did stroll up there, and they had their AGM and any other business and all this sort of stuff. Shall we re-elect the chairman? Wake up, man, wake up. We're going to re-elect you. Oh, yes, you'll do what? Oh, very good, sir, very good. So they did all their re-elect, the whole thing, the whole AGM, any other business, reading the minutes, the gripes and complaints they had, the whatever it was, took at least 59 seconds. It was very nearly a minute. And then they all had a nice cup of tea. These two lovely ladies, these two lovely retired ladies of a certain age, suddenly shot up like bolts out of the blue, zipped over to the kitchen, put on the urns. Ern wasn't too happy about that, but they bunged on the urns and made lots of cups of tea. Cake came out, biscuits came out. Oh, it was lovely. We were all guzzling this kind of stuff, having a chinwag, and everybody was going, oh, well, anyway, I'll see you next week then. See you next time. No, wait a minute. There's some geezer going to give us a talk, some bald oh, is it you? And I said, yeah, I think it is. So they said, well, get up there and give us a talk, not wasting our time. So I went up in front of everybody and started to give this sort of bit of a chinwag. Now, I've got some photos here, ladies and gentlemen, which were very kindly sent in I've just got to find them. Hang on a minute. Where are they? Here we go. You've probably seen this one because Justin Bryce, who is the what is he? He's the Facebook person involved. He's been he took some photographs. These are very nice pictures. Thank you very much, Justin, for taking these. There's me with the little GoPro. I was demonstrating how I made my videos, you see, and so that's that one. Here's another little picky where the group, you can see that, you know, they're very young and sprightly people, of course, and the best way to get my points over was to hypnotise them. So I'm just putting them into a deep hypnotic trance. Here's one that refused to go. So in the end, I had to take that. Looks like a microphone. It's actually a cudgel. And I bashed him over the head. And eventually, you know, he was knocked right out. And these two likely lads were rather shocked by that. In fact, that you might recognise, that reprobate there in the foreground is Gary Baines from Shoreham Fort, and he was straight on the phone. You can see he was straight on the phone to the police saying there's a bit of naughty stuff going on. I calmed down a bit, gave them a bit more of a chinwag, and everyone was very delighted. So that all worked out. That all worked out very well, actually. The truth is, what I was really, I went in there to tell them about what we're doing and the walks that I'm doing and all this stuff. But actually, I realised, I had a conversation with Justin, not Justine. He's a man. He's not a woman. Justin, and he said, you know, they're quite mature people. I have to be, you know, treading on eggshells all the time here. And they're mature people, and they're not really with the newfangled technology. And I said, oh, right, okay, that's interesting. So I did ask them, I said, are you on Facebook and YouTube? And they just look like, you know, blank faces, rabbit in the headlights sort of thing. And I said, well, that's very interesting because you obviously want people to come and visit your windmills. They represent, the group represents most of the windmills across the Sussex countryside, across the, you know, the hills and the dales of Sussex, or the hills and the wealds of Sussex. And many of them are owners of windmills, or they're the representatives of trusts of windmills. And clearly they're very interested in the restoration work of how to repair them and keep them going, but they need money to do that, and they need people to come in and have a look at them and you know, have some sort of purpose to them, because we don't use those windmills anymore to grind corn to make flour anymore, because it's all done in factories, probably abroad somewhere. Probably don't even do it in this country. Wouldn't be surprised to do. So so they need people to come in, but they do it in the old-fashioned way, the odd advert in the back of the Friday ad, or you know, in the County Times, newspapers that nobody ever reads, or they stick a few leaflets in the libraries that nobody ever visits. And I said, well, it's interesting that you're not on Facebook or YouTube or any of these modern social media platforms, because, as I said, you know, you may not be there, but the world is there. The rest of the world is there. That's where you've got to be. So I was telling them. Then I told them about, you know, the films that I do and how I go around and I film this stuff and people watch them and they go, ooh, that's a nice idea. I fancy going to a windmill because I saw this bald bloke. And they were quite surprised. Gary Baines then sort of stood up and he barged me out the way. And he said, Richard, you're not selling yourself. You're not selling it true. He said, Richard Vobes made this film for Daryl Hoyter, who we'll talk about shortly, actually. I've got a picture of him. Where did I put that now? Oh, it's all going fun. Here, there we are. He said he made a video for this bloke, Daryl Hoyter, about heritage crime. And it's gone viral. It's about 16,000 people have seen it. It's on YouTube and Facebook, and the message is going out. He said, you know, you've got to get this guy, Richard Vobes, to come and make a walk round your windmill, and you'll get people in. And so they said, can we do it ourselves? How do we do it? And I was demonstrating. Now, Gary very kindly let me have a little bit of video. And I've got a bit of video that he sent me, of me giving the talk, and I'd just be interested to know whether you'd like to see a little bit of that. Did someone say that they are from Minnesota? You're all talking amongst yourselves there. You look like Swiss Tony in that picture, Richie. Thanks for that. Claire Leach says, ever since my illness, I haven't felt like walking very much. Then my husband introduced me to the Bald Explorer via YouTube, and I have been inspired. Well done, Claire. Well, you've been on some interesting walks, so I'm very interested to talk about that a bit later. But here's a little moment, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a moment where I'm demonstrating last night at the Sussex Windmills Group meeting at the West Blatchington Windmill in their sort of committee area, and I wanted to demonstrate the GoPro and the gimbal that I used that makes it all steady, and I brought all my gear, but the one thing I forgot, stupidly, was the gimbal. So I had to sort of improvise and describe how the gimbal worked. So here's that very little moment.
This is called a GoPro. It's incredibly tiny, incredibly robust. It has a wide angle lens, it's a fixed lens. But the quality of these things are amazing. And I have this gimbal, which is 3 motors, so it becomes like a Steadicam, and it just floats within this thing, and it's on a stick. And I regret that I haven't got it here, because it's really quite cool. You can hold this stick like this and move it around like this, and this thing just stays locked solid in space. A bit like that there. There's a bit of mime there, where I went to mime school years ago. So I fix it in space. So it kind of does that. So when I'm filming, I can hold it like this, and I can present to it by just holding it on the stick. And talk to it, and it floats, so you get a very steady shot. Then it turns round, you press a button, it turns around, so you can then get this sort of POV, this point of view, so you can go along like this, and you get this. And what I found, what people really like, is that feeling that they are taking that journey with you, that they're going through. So if you're going up the stairs and you're walking around, or you're looking at that thing, and it's so simple, and it's so quick now to produce. I mean, I've got years of making film, so it seems very quick to me.
So there we are. So I did finally get to explain it to them, and they all opened their eyes, and they suddenly realised they needed to be on Facebook and YouTube, and the message was out there. And one of the things I did explain to them was that the kids have left Facebook, particularly. The kids are gone now, on the whole, and there is a nice set of people. I mean, I used to use Facebook, and I used to think it was awful because it was just loads of rubbish. But there is, there's us lot for one thing, and there are some lovely people out there, and we're all open to ideas, and we're interested in our heritage, and so I hopefully will be working with them and maybe showing them how to do some video stuff and going around their windmills. But the other thing I was particularly interested in selling, and I'm going to start, I didn't want to push my way through too hard, but one of the things I'm interested in doing, particularly in the summer when we get nice, lighter, warmer evenings, is to get the live show, the live show, from a windmill. I just think that would be so cool, have the live show from a windmill. We'll get a couple of the guys in to tell us a little bit. We'll show a little bit of what it's like. We'll play in some video and stuff. We'll maybe get one of the helpers there to cook a cake, a special windmill cake for the show or something, and maybe if it's a live show from a windmill, we can have a bit of a live audience who can turn up and watch the recording. There's no end. There is no end to what we could do. So that's an idea. I just want to plant that seed with you guys, and if you've got some thoughts or anything like that, do let me know. That would be absolutely fantastic. Right, let's go and have a quick look in the group, because the Bald Explorer group. Now, a lot of you, of course, will know the Bald Explorer group, particularly those people who are watching live, but people do watch this on YouTube and on Facebook on the rerun. They come to it for the first time, and they may not quite understand. So what I like to do is just to dip into the group to see what's going on and who's posting what, and to entice those people who've never tried to join the group. We're a friendly bunch. We welcome everybody. As long as you're sensible posting and you're not bunging in rubbish, then you are very welcome. So for the moment now, I may get a few little, this is where I get some of my facts wrong, because I go in very quickly and have a little delve round and see, because people are posting lovely pictures. So let's start with Robert Crosser, who's been in Eden Vale and have a look at it. He's been doing some lovely pictures. He's taken now. He's up north. He is up north. Not quite sure where up north Edenvale is, to be honest with you, but he is up north doing that, and that is very lovely. Bit of a rough old up north river. That was the word I was looking for. But yes, very nice. On the other hand, Paul Hine, you have been at Wanford Enhanced with this very remarkable looking church with this terrific tower, and it's very well, it almost looks like robotic face on the top. When I first saw it, I thought it was some Martian invasion from somewhere had just landed, a spaceship with two great big eyes and a nose. But lovely place, and in Hampshire, so I do quite fancy nipping up there. Good old Terry Wood, he's been down in South Devon, working hard with getting stuff to us, and he's been at Plimbridge Woods on the Cannes Viaduct. And now, I don't know if this is on the same line, Terry. Maybe you can tell me. But when I was at Tavistock, there's I don't know whether it was a bridge or a viaduct. I think it was a railway bridge, but there's a Tavistock railway bridge there. I don't know if this is on the same line. But anyway, fantastic. I'm only showing one picture, by the way. If you go in the group, you'll see a collection. People are bunging up very interesting collections. So I just pick out one which is a little bit different. Here we go. Now, do you know where this is? This is at Botolph's Church, near Bramber, very close to Bramber. And Stephen Tysers has been posting that. I particularly like that, the detail on this. Very nice. Morgan and Smith. I guess this has got something to do with... Is this to do with the organ? I don't know if this is the pulling of the pipes and stuff. This is my good friends Simon Brown and Sharon Brown. They are up in St Neots in Cambridgeshire. They've been out walking a lot, so I think they're walking at the Graffham Water in Cambridgeshire, and Simon Brown has suggested that I come up and stay with him for a few days, which I'm going to do, I think, at the end of April, or sometime, towards that time anyway. And we're going to go out, we're going to go cycling and with the camera and walking, and we're going to bring the live show. This is another post of his at Overton in Cambridgeshire, which looks very, very nice and delightful. So looking forward to going exploring up that neck of the woods. Now, Russell MacDonald Bell, I don't know if you're out there. You out there, Russell? Because he was down the pub earlier, and he happened to pass this very nice church at Longbridge in Deverill, and you can see there the crocuses are up. It's all looking very nice, but you can see the picture is slightly on the piss because he's been down the pub. So obviously that's no good to man or beast, but hopefully he has survived. Somebody else who's I don't know whether you were a bit drunk when you took this one, but this is Mark Selwood. I'm only joking. This is Carnbrea. I don't know if I pronounced this right. Carnbrea Castle. Oh, Carnbrea Castle. And this, I forget what they call this technique. It's a special technique. He shoved up a drone in the air round the castle, but when you take pictures like this with this special filter, it makes it look like a tiny, tiny little toy, as if you're looking at one of these miniature railways with the setting, you know, the sort of landscape. It does make it look like it's a very tiny sort of thing, but very, very lovely up there. I must get into Wales and have a look at some of their castles and stuff. Now, this one is our professional photographer, Graham Whittington, at Petworth Park. There's some lovely pictures there. I just happened to pick this one because it took my fancy. I don't know what kind of duck this is, but he's got his head in the air and he's looking very proud. So thanks, Mark, for posting, Graham, rather, for posting that. Ed Warren has been out with his long lens and he's been... jumping with the gazelles. Now, they're not really gazelles, are they? But are they doe? Are they doe? Doe a deer? A female deer? Or are they... they're not... what do they call them? Ukes? Elks. Are they elks? Or are they does? They're something anyway. But thanks, Ed. It's always good. And he put a lovely post in there just sort of saying how much he enjoyed the group, and posting was great fun and people really appreciate it. Because a lot of people can't get out, you see. This is the other thing that's worth remembering. Cynthia Walder has been in Hazelmere at the Swan Barn Farm, and it's looking a little bit bare there because we're coming out of winter, of course, into spring, and all that is going to just become a great load of colour. It's all going to sort of spring to life. So some lovely walks. And she says this is right at the back of the Hazelmere High Street. You wouldn't believe it. You kind of just go through a doorway or down an alley and bang, you're in the countryside, which is fantastic. And Claire Leach, you've been out on the Slater Trail at Seaford Head and around that Cookmere Haven and all round there on the Slater Trail in the footsteps of the artist Eric Slater. And you did invite me to take a stroll with you coming up fairly soon, which I'm very much looking forward to. So we will go and do a video and find out all about that. I'd like to know who this Eric Slater. Just looking at that, it would be great to go and walk to those locations and then take a photograph or some video and stand there and look at those that he painted. Did he paint in oils or watercolour? I'd be interested to know that. That would be fantastic. Let me know. Don't forget, we do want your Vobing reporters. That's where you go out with your telephone. Telephone, that's so old-fashioned, isn't it? Your mobile, and you take the picture and you say, hello, Richard, I'm out walking at so-and-so, so-and-so, and blah, blah, blah. Send the little file in, and we'll play it in on the show, because that's the sort of show it is. It is all a little bit bonkers, all a little bit mad. So let's go and see what you're chin-wagging about in the old chat room. Andy Ash says, I'm off to Tavistock in May. Oh, lovely. I got a fantastic... Oh, I haven't got it here. I got a fantastic felt hat from Tavistock, which keeps all the rain off when I'm going walking. But, because I'm not a bald explorer if I put a hat on, although I did have a woolly hat on at Christmas. Jennifer Stewart, I think those are organ stops. Yeah, they would certainly stop my organs if I swallowed one, I can tell you. Russell McDonald Bell says, yes, he's staggered back because he's had an extra pint down there just on my behalf, which was very kind. Mark Selwood says, Brie is pronounced as in the cheese. Oh, Brie. Oh, as in can't breathe. Can't breathe. As in can't breathe. Can't breathe, Richard. Can't breathe. I got it. Thank you for that. Julia says, looks like a buck and a doe. Julia, I didn't see you sneak in. I shall have to have words with you, you know. There's some lovely pictures, by the way, of the lovely Julia in the thing, looking at lambs. And there's a particularly nice picture of her having her ear sucked. Well, we saw the video earlier, but there's some other stills, so go and check them out. And also my lovely daughter, Georgie, who is laughing as Julia is pulling a most peculiar face, all in the group. So do check that one out. Pete Bastable, is it Bastable? Says roe deer. Roe deer. Roe. You can imagine him out on the river, can't you? Yeah, that's right. Roe deer. Roe deer. Harder. Harder. Come on. We've got to win the Oxford boat race. Roe deer. Oh dear. Vobes has lost it again. We have 2 roe deers in our garden. Do you? Oh, we have roe deers in our garden. Do you really, Andy? How lucky you are. Claire says, no, he did woodcuts. Oh, that's Eric Slater. Oh, he did woodcuts. Do you know, you'd think that he would have worked in slate. That would have been painted on slate. Eric Slater. That would have, you know, they don't work to their advantage, do they? Clearly. They didn't consult the Vobie one-eyed Kenobi. Steve Pilford says saw Claire had been down at the Martello Tea Hut in Seaford and had a few brews down there. So what? Yeah, just because it's Saturday, you're all getting legless. This is no good. This is no good. Dave Barker says he's Baker. Beg your pardon. There's no R in your name, is there? There's no R. He's loving the show. Thank you very much. That's very good. Claire Leach says, I will tell you more when we do our walk. Thank you. That would be lovely. And Mark Selwood is lolling about. So he's been on the piss as well. He's lolling about left and right. Now I haven't seen Lee Freeston because Lee has sent me a lovely bit of video, and I want to play in this lovely bit of video. He's been a bit like a Vobing reporter, but he's actually suggesting that I go and have a look at this with him. Which does sound very good, I have to say. So let me just find this video and then we will play it in. So he is at Warblington Church, which I believe is in Hampshire, and it's south from Winchester, and it's very. I'm looking. I'm just trying to find where it's close to. It'll come to me in a minute. But I've got something to near Romsey. No, it's not near Romsey. Anyway, it's at Warblington Church. Have a look at this. Here we go. He did this on his bicycle. So he's cycling down towards the church, and I've got some info at the same time to read in. So Warblington was settled by the Romans. A Roman villa stood in the fields a few hundred yards to the northeast of the church. And the remains of a Roman structure have been found in the churchyard. Roman bricks and tiles can be seen in the two rounded arches, so look very carefully, on either side of the tower. You might not see them in that particular video. The church dates back to Saxon times. The centre portion of the Saxon tower still remains, which is very nice. You can't hear the pedals on the bike, by the way. It contains a high porch, porch, not Porsche, which is typical of a Saxon arrangement. Originally, this may have formed as a kind of outside pulpit, necessary because the church would have been too small to accommodate the 120 Doomsday inhabitants of Warblington parish. And it's quite a large courtyard, so I guess it's a good idea if you can get out and it's not raining to natter to your congregation. It's been suggested that in addition to the church, there was a monastery on the site of the ruins of Warblington Castle, and that both the monastery and the church were built and endowed by the Anglo-Saxon King Edgar in conjunction with Ethelwold, Bishop of Winchester, between 959 and 975. It's all conjecture, who knows. Anyway, that's not the most interesting thing. This is coming up now in a second. I'll just wait for it to come over to this building. This is a watch hut, ladies and gentlemen. It's a rare example of a watch hut commissioned in 1828. At that time, the demand for bodies for dissection and teaching purposes outstripped the supply. Now, possibly because of the churchyard's remote location, watchmen were employed to guard the churchyard and prevent the digging up and selling of bodies of recently buried parishioners. So that's absolutely amazing. So someone was sat in there 24 hours a day making sure no one came and dug the place up to get the bodies out. And here is another example of a beautiful yew tree. We like the yew trees. It's another reason to get the lovely Julia out with me. And her poor husband is, stuck at home whilst she goes wandering, skipping with the bald explorer, investigating nature and all those sort of things. So it's another lovely yew tree there for you to enjoy. So there we go. Thank you very much, Lee, for sending that in. That's lovely. And I will try, and at some point we'll go down and have a look and inspect that and find out some more information about the bodies that were dug up. Maybe we can reenact it. That would be quite good. I'll bring a spade and we can do a bit of exhumation. I once had a humation, but now I'm an exhumation. It's not such a funny joke, is it? No. So that was that. That's the group. That's kind of it. It's 53 minutes to. We've been on quite long. Let's get, before we disembark into the Sunday, and remember the clocks go forward, so don't forget that, will you? See what you're nattering about. Timothy says, enjoyed the show. Have a great weekend up in the Midlands. Thank you very well. I'm not going up in the Midlands until Tuesday, to be honest, so there will be a Monday show. There's no show tomorrow, but there will be a Monday show. Nikki says, good night, Richard. Still Pilford says, I apologise, Claire, for Richard turning my innocent comment into making you sound legless. There's a lot of apologies now going on, and because it'll all be, it'll all be put at my door. It's all my fault. It's all my fault, isn't it? Absolute sure. Claire says, I only had hot chocolate. You can't get out of it that easily, Claire. I'm so sorry. Can't get out of it. Only one beer for me, says Dave Baker, at lunchtime. So you probably had a snooze, did you, in the afternoon? Good night, Mark and everyone, says Nikki. Jennifer Stewart says, please tell me what all this doomsday stuff means. Well, of course, you're in America. You're in America. What is this doomsday? Doomsday does not 1086 mean anything to you, Jennifer? 1086, the great survey, one of the greatest surveys ever done, carried out. I mean, it wasn't 100% complete, but there was lots of places missing, like up in the north, but lots are certainly down here. It's, the Doomsday survey, it's what turned us It's what turned us Brits, although they were Normans at the time, it turned us Brits into paper chasing. Oh, yes, and how many cows do you have? I see. And how many sheep? Yes. And how many hides? No, come out. I can see you. I can see you, you fool. How many of those? Oh, you're 3. How many children? That's right. Oh, say. And how many chickens? How many eggs today? Oh, no. How many pints of milk does your cow give? Oh, lovely. How long is a perch? The Doomsday Book. I'm surprised, Jennifer, you don't know what the Doomsday Book. I mean, it's almost as well known as the Magna Carta. Signing the Magna Carta. We'll leave that for another occasion. The Doomsday Book. When the Normans came over in 1066, 10 years went past, and King William the Conqueror thought, this is quite a nice place, but I wonder what goes on in here. I wonder how much it's worth. It's got to be worth. It's all about the money, really. It was all about how much was it. How much was every manor, every little village, every little, tin pot shed, how much was it creating? And so he sent people out 10 years later in 1086, and they did the massive survey, which we call the Doomsday Book, or many people just call it Doomsday Book. I forget why that's called Doomsday Book. Martin Snow will know, of course. Where is Martin Snow? I have to do that joke every time now because it's a religious thing. And so that's what Doomsday is. Also, you can look it up on the internet, by the way. You can put it into Google and it will tell you. That's one of the great things of the internet. Mark says, nice filming, Lee. Interesting. Mark Selwood says, thanks for another great show. Great show, Richard. Another brilliant show. Everyone's saying it's a great show. Been out Vobe reporting, says Kevin Hall. Look into that. Don't worry, Paul. I've got the message. I'm going to look into why you're not getting stuff. But for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, let us play the outro music. There it is. Wait for the timpani. Well, I hope you have a fantastic and wonderful weekend, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a joy to see you. I've enjoyed today's show. I don't feel stressed or rushed or anything. It's been great. Hope it came out. I'm looking at the feed and it's looking a bit staggery, but there you are. So until Monday, I'll be doing a show Monday. Do send in your Vobing reporters. Keep posting the pictures. Keep keeping everybody happy. Welcome everybody into the group. It's all lovely. If you want to be a member of the special team and become a patron, then find out from baldexplorer.com. And if you want to cough up, a couple of quid a month to keep the show on the road, that's very kind of you. I do appreciate all my sponsors. You're all absolutely fantastic. I try and do this just for you. So that's it, really. That's it. So take care, one and all, and I will see you on the Monday. Until the next time, from the old Vobie One-Eye Kenobi, ta-ta and goodbye.